Hello, and welcome. My name is Nazanin Marashian, Love and Heart Art, and I'm super excited to be launching my first ever podcast episode with you all. This podcast is all about empowerment through creative expression and a sharing of potent ceremonies and ritual practices for healing. I am a passionate artist, writer, educator, mama bear to three amazing humans who've taught me so much on this journey. And each week I will dive into various topics and processes and tools that have really helped me on this journey into personal power. We will talk about, what is personal power first and foremost, and tools that are helpful along this journey. And, take what resonates with you and leave behind what doesn't. The thing that's so beautiful about sharing your story is that it has a potency that we can never know because we're living it. But in that sharing is where the magic happens, where others will go, yeah, that was me, or wow, that really opened something up. Or, when I listen to my favorite podcast too and get this aha breakthrough moment of clarity. So my intention is to share authentically and openly my journey through the spiritual path into empowerment and the awakening of the divine feminine within me as it has come through my art practice, my writing, my beingness in the world, and all of this inspiration that's flooding through that wants to be shared. And the amplification of that sharing here with you all is so delightful. So thank you so much. And let's dive in. All right, personal power. What do I mean when I say personal power? This for me has been a long and really revelationary journey into self-love as I have moved through stepping into who I am and finding my personal power. And personal power is not about dominance. When we think about the word power, there's this connotation of dominance. But power is, for me, and the embodiment that I've been through in this process, is about returning to self and knowing that everything that is happening, I have a control to the point of I can choose how I'm going to respond. I may not be able to affect the outcome of what is external to me, but I certainly can move and choose how I'm going to respond internally. And that is power. Knowing who I am, knowing where I'm from, knowing what it is that is lighting up and moving within me, being able to access those deep wounds and find light in the dark. That is all personal power. Boundary setting, allowing yourself to feel your feelings, not being in denial or bypassing, going through the icky, sticky mud of it all because you can't go over it and you can't go under it. It's moving through it. That is personal power. And this journey for me actively began in 2016, I would say, sitting around a campfire and really being hit over the head with spirit calling, saying the time is now. Because so much of who I was up until then was still, I had achieved a lot in my career path, in my creative world, manifested a lot of things that that I dreamed about, but I wasn't truly in my personal power because how people thought about me, how I was perceived, and wanting to please others were on the top of the list. And we all know that people pleaser in a child wound that, some of us carry that needs to be healed in order to step into personal power. And this was the moment. It was so clear. And I hadn't really begun this spiritual awakening in that sense until that moment. And so 2016, everything fell apart as it does. And in these journeys into self, the ego death that needs to happen, and all of the layers peeling back, the onion layers. And one of the tools that was really helpful for me to discover, sit with, lean into, and expand what is my personal power, is bringing it all to the fundamentals. Where am I right now? What is moving within me? What are my limiting beliefs? If no one was watching, what would I be doing? These were the questions that I would ask myself. And then as I moved through each one, reclaiming back parts of myself, reclaiming back who I am, going into the dark and coming out with a brighter light. This is not an easy path, but a rewarding one. And reclaiming personal power is also taking responsibility for everything that was going on in my life. And that was step one. So I'd love to hear from you all and what you feel has been the beginning point, the breakthrough through perhaps a breakdown of stepping into personal power. It's different for everybody. For me, it was the fire element, asking me to burn away all the constructs of who I thought I was and go back to the root and really step into who I am, unapologetically, uncensored, and really willing to look at myself. Because it's so easy to look out than it is to look in. Because there's no hiding from looking in. And that, for me, was step one into reclaiming personal power. Lots to share. I feel that a lot of the kind of ritual processes that I was awakening into were really helpful. So journaling, doing various letting go rituals, cutting cords with the old version of Nazanin. That was really hard. I was so attached to her, and really just letting that version of myself die off was super hard. That took a couple of years. And getting over imposter syndrome, knowing that I am enough and complete and whole and I have everything that I need. And if I'm being called to this path, and if I'm being moved into this direction, it's because it exists within me and nothing is outside of me. And another layer into personal power. So, really interesting, really good. Really good. And coming out on the other side of that, I've strengthened my boundaries. Stepping into personal power also allowed me to really own my self-worth and self-love. I'm going to do some separate episodes on those because they're pretty massive topics and can be quite triggering. So if you do feel triggered by anything that I've said, just take a moment and be with where you are. And know that we are all, and you are all, perfect in your imperfection, in your flaws. That's what makes us unique. And our pathway into our personal power is as individual as each of our fingerprint. So how you get there is really beautiful and individual. Thanks for listening, everyone. Really enjoyed this first share. It is scary doing something new and working out the tech and, but again, that's when you are in your personal power that I feel that I am. You take the risk, you move out of the comfort zone and follow the impulse of creativity. So thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. And I'm so looking forward to the next one. So I'll see you all next week. And stay safe, be well. And this is Nazanin Marashi and Love and Heart Art.